Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. I'm going to say this regarding YouTube's attacks on this channel, and then I'm going to leave it alone, at least for the rest of the summer, I hope. Most folks here have seen this before, quite a bit. It's not your first rodeo, but there's a number of new folks here, and I can tell that they need to have someone hip them to the game. Given the reactions of certain comments that I've seen, including from a couple of folks who have been here for a while, it seems that YouTube's latest "we don't need no stinking reasons to go after your channel" has come as a shock to some folks. And you can tell because they can't believe that YouTube puts restrictions on channels and lies about it, just flat out claims things that aren't even in the video. Now, those of us who have been out here in the trenches for a while are all too familiar with the racists at YouTube. They're anti-black racist employees who are simply white supremacists in Silicon Valley. Racism from America's technology sector has a very long and putrid history. That Shockley character who Dr. Francis Cress Welsing debated back in the 70s, he was a sterling example of that kind of psychopathic racism. People in the tech industry have long been a whites-only club, and their main mission has been attacking and hating black people. Need I remind you that when it comes to the early adopters of technology, there's been two groups who have been at the forefront of that: the pornography industry and white supremacists. Both are heavily reliant on using underground means to get their messages out, and both of them are perverted and obscene. When the first message boards were developed in the 1980s, they were almost immediately infested with white supremacists. Among the earliest internet websites were white supremacists. This is why you see them so much in comment sections. So the ties between white supremacy and the internet are incestuous. What YouTube is doing is the digital equivalent of unconventional warfare. Rather than carry out straightforward attacks from straightforward sources, they are instead trying to use oblique attacks. Things that are meant to slow us down because outright stopping us is out of the question. They can't claim that any terms of service have been violated, so instead they're lying and claiming nudity and other insanity, because that's the entire point. They think that they can rattle us by showing that they don't have to abide by any rules, not even their own. To the people who are new here, or the folks who just haven't been paying attention, you'll get hung up on the lie that YouTube is using about nudity and vulgar language. And if you do focus on that, you're missing the forest for the twig. Of course the claims of nudity are lies. That's the entire point. That's why they're making that claim in specific. And as I've shown you with my video about self-medication, they didn't even bother to try to tell a lie about that one. They didn't even try to offer a justification. They just posted a message saying that it's not age appropriate, and that was that. That is the most blatant example of showing that they don't need a justification or a reason. They're doing it just because. Obviously, a few people at YouTube are mega triggered by my videos, and this is why, for at least the last week or so, they have been very vigilant about attacking each one of the videos that I post. This is the only way they could think of to retaliate. This channel has been up for 4 years now, and there's been more age restrictions put on videos in the last 7 days than I've had in the last 4 years combined. So this isn't some accident. This is a program at work here. For this to happen day after day means that some creeps at YouTube have seen the videos, seen that they're gaining traction, and they're mad about it. The same way right-wing racists pass laws or enact policies strictly meant to send a message to people they hate, that means black people, you got folks at YouTube doing the exact same thing. This is their idea of sending a message. And the message is that they are monitoring us very closely, and they're openly using their systems at Google to attack us. When you get past the phony restrictions and look at what's actually happening here, that's the real message. That they see what black people are doing and that we better stop it or else. So, why do so many of my videos draw so much of their fire? Because I deal with black people being proactive to reject systems of white control over our personal lives. And secondly, I tell black people to reject the political paradigms white power is trying to force onto us. This is what the new voices of black media are all about. So let me go on the record and say that since I know that the people at YouTube are clearly watching this channel, that's why they keep age restricting the videos day after day, let me say that I am honored that they find so much to hate in my simply telling black people the truth. It shows how weak they know their position to be. But we can't just sit back on our laurels and think that white supremacy is going to collapse on its own. We will have to put our backs into it regardless and topple this monster. And we can. Yes, they will try to delay us and distract us, but we have to play past that. Now, one of the statements that gets thrown around a lot is, "But Professor, why do you stay here? We should just leave." Okay, now this is something that I haven't really tackled before, but let me go ahead and address it if I may. I continue to be here because this is where the people are at. Simple as that. A message of change means very little if nobody ever hears it. Since this is where the largest number of eyes and ears are at, we have to be honest that it's unrealistic to think that we're going to circumvent that. Because unless you've got some billionaire tech investor, the black empowerment equivalent of Robert Mercer, someone who's willing to shovel several $1,000,000 into a black empowerment message, then you simply don't have a machine with the resources or the reach to bring people to you. You're going to have to reach people where they already are. And I'm fine with that, because it also gives us the opportunity to fight the enemy right where they are. Look, some of you are going to have to get over this idea that fighting white supremacy is going to be quick and easy. It won't. I did a video years ago about the dangers of magical thinking, and how detrimental it is to try to retreat into that kind of thought. The people who keep espousing certain talking points could benefit from going back and listening to that video a couple of times. I never thought for a moment that this would be quick and easy. You don't devote 15 plus years of your life to anything because you think it's going to be over fast. You do it because there's a part of your soul that simply cannot rest while the work has yet to be done. That's where I'm coming from. And I think that's where a lot of you are coming from too. That's why you come to this place and why you keep coming back. So yes, we will call out the attacks and we will push back against them because this is a fight. And if you're not fighting, you're fleeing. So let's be realistic all the way around. Accept the reality of the situation we're in, and then be about the business. The name of the game here is persistence. Whoever throws in the towel first, whoever quits, that's the one who loses. This is not about whether these racist restrict a video or not, or whether they flag a channel or even take one down. The game is bigger than that. This is about whether we are relentless, because ultimately victory is determined by showing the enemy that we want it far more than they do. No matter how many videos they attack, or how many attempts they make to silence us, so long as we refuse to let that or anything else stop us, then we will be the ones who get the last word. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Sherman Marshall, Calvin Benjamin, Stephen 12, Rod Spade, and Ryan Bird. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.